If a tougher look and better capability for your 2018 or newer JL Wrangler is what you're looking for, this Jeep licensed by RedRock HD front bumper with a 20-inch light bar is a great mod to consider. Now this is great for the JL owner who is taking their Wrangler off-road and wants some functional provisions to protect their front end and help get them out of a sticky situation if needed, while also adding the extra benefit of auxiliary lighting on top of it. This is even a great option if you just want a quality Jeep branded and licensed bumper to add some off-road edge to the front of your build, even if you're rarely going off-road or even just sticking to the street. Now this bumper has a mid-width design protecting a majority of the front end and grille area with the overrider hoop here, and this also has partial tire coverage without being intrusive to the wheel well, allowing for larger tires and better approach angles. Now that overrider hoop also incorporates a built-in cutout for the included 20-inch LED light bar, which has a slim single-row build and a high output with the bright white LED design, complementing your other lighting and offering a substantial improvement in visibility in bad weather and super dark nights. And the recovery aspect of this bumper is also incredibly useful with a built-in standard 10 by 4.5 inch recessed winch plate rated up to 12,000 pounds and high-strength D-ring mounts with D-rings and red isolators. Now those two features will help in whatever recovery scenario that you get yourself into, allow you to customize this with whatever winch that you want to add to your setup and also add some character with the black and red detailing. The bumper here is made of a heavy-duty steel plate construction made to take any type of impact and save the front end in the process, in addition to handling the strength of that 12,000 pound pulling capacity as far as a winch is concerned. Now the bumper also has a matte black powder-coated finish on top, which adds to the tough look and helps to resist rust from forming over time. The light bar is also tough with an aluminum housing, a polycarbonate lens, and a water and dust proof rating to withstand the elements when mounted up to the bumper. The kit also includes a wiring harness for the lighting and all the hardware needed for a bolt-on install process. This is about $850, which is right in the middle of the price spectrum when taking a look at all bumpers in the category. Now what makes this kit stand out, however, is first and foremost the officially licensed build, which speaks to the quality in the construction, and it has the Jeep branding that most others don't include. This also includes additional lighting, a recessed winch plate for additional protection compared to top-mounted choices, and small but stylish details like the red isolators, along with other standard features that you would want out of a heavy-duty front bumper. These are some of the key characteristics that you're looking for when it comes to shopping for a new front bumper for your JL, then this is a great one to consider. Install is straightforward and completely bolt-on, again, getting a 1 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter. Now with this bumper and the wiring, it should take about 2 hours or so to complete the install. However, at this point, I'm going to hand it over to one of our installers here. They're going to show you a detailed breakdown on how you can do that step by step. That wraps it up for me. Let's get into the install.
For this install, you will need an impact, various ratchets, an extension, T20 Torx bit, 2.5, 4, and 5 millimeter Allen sockets, 7, 8, 12, 13, 16, and 18 millimeter sockets, a 7 millimeter wrench, a clip removal tool, and also not shown here, but if needed, an extra set of hands. Alright, today we're going to be installing a front bumper on our Wrangler, but before we get started, we're going to send you to watch a quick video on how to remove your factory setup, and we'll see you when you get back.
So our first step to this install is to take off our upper splash shield. Now for this, you're going to need a trim removal tool. We're going to remove the couple of pop clips that are holding it in. You're going to have 2 on the main frame rail part, and then we're going to have a couple along the front. So you're also going to have 2 7 millimeter screws on either side on the back here at the corner of this splash guard. Now, we do not have any in there, so what we can do at this point is remove them or remove our upper splash guard, but you would need a 7 millimeter socket in order to remove that. Now we can head underneath the Jeep. So our next step is to remove our lower splash shield. Now there are 2 8 millimeter screws on the back that we need to remove first. I'm going to use an 8 millimeter socket. I'm also using just a small extension here to give myself some room. My electric ratchet. Then there are going to be multiple clips up at the front that are holding in the front of the splash shield. I am going to take my trim removal tool that we used up top, and we can remove those. Once all of those are removed, we can fully remove the splash shield. Next, we can remove our skid plate. There's going to be two 16mm bolts on either side. I'm going to use a 16mm socket, my electric ratchet, to remove those. Once both bolts are removed, we can push up on the shield and pull it out. Next, what we need to do is disconnect our fog light wiring harness. There's just going to be one connector for the main harness. Just press down, pull back, and then we can start to remove the hardware that's holding on our bumper. So I'm going to use an 18mm socket and a small extension and my electric ratchet, and we're going to remove the nuts that's holding on the front bumper. So this may be a little bit difficult to see because of the splash guard on the side, but we're going to take an 18mm socket and remove the two nuts on the outside of our frame rail that are holding on our bumper. Then we can repeat that for the other 6 studs. So at this point, what we need to do is just pull our bumper back and off of the frame rail. So what we have to do at this point is remove our fog lights because we do have to swap them into our new bumper. There's going to be multiple 7mm screws surrounding each of the splash guards. Now what I'm going to do is take a 7mm socket and just go ahead and remove those. I would be careful using a power tool or even just extracting these in general, just because the bumper is plastic and the retainer clip can spin in the back if the bolt does get stuck. So just be mindful of that while you're removing the bolts. We can do the same thing on the other side. At this point, we need to disconnect our fog light. And then we can take out the 3 screws that are holding it in. I'm going to use a T20 Torx socket in order to remove those. Then we can do the same thing on the other side. So we will need to transfer over this wiring harness, however it's behind our crash bar here. So what I'm going to do is remove the 4 bolts that are holding the crash bar to the actual plastic part of the bumper using a 13mm socket. I'm also using a small extension just to clear the crash bar. Once those 4 bolts are removed, we can lift up. And being careful of the wiring harness, we can just place this to the side for a second. And you can see that it's held in by a number of clips. I'm going to use a trim removal tool, and we can just start removing those clips. If the tow hook is in the way, you can just pop that out of place.
All right, welcome back. Now that we have our factory bumper all broken down, it's time to start assembling and installing our new bumper setup. What we're going to do first is install our factory fog lights onto our provided fog light brackets. They're going to mount on the back side with 2 provided 2.5mm Allen screws with lock washers and flat washers here, and then a 2.5mm Allen screw with 2 flat washers and a lock washer and nut on the outside tab. So we'll get that going now. Now you want to make sure these are going to face right side up, so the top of your fog light is going to go with the slant up, drop right in and line up with the mounting holes. Our outer one in. Now we'll tighten these down. For our outer one, we can use our 7mm wrench and our 2.5mm Allen socket. And for our 2 inner screws, we'll just need our 2.5mm Allen socket. Once you got your first fog light installed, you can repeat the same process for the other side. So now we've got our bumper up on the table. I do have bubble wrap on the table to prevent any scratching of the bumper while we're working on it. If you don't have a towel or something like that, your kit does come with a nice layer of bubble wrap around your bumper, so you can use that just as well. We're going to mount our fog light brackets to our bumper. They're going to go on the back side of the openings. We're going to grab our provided 4mm Allen head screws with lock washers and flat washer for one of those, and then the other 3 will be the 4mm Allen screws with a flat washer and a flange nut. So we're going to get our bracket lined up. Now this hole is the one with the welded nut on the back side, so that's the one you'll use your screw with your lock washer and flat washer for. Just lined up. That one started, and that'll kind of hold it so we can get our other 3 screws in. And we'll send these through. On the back side, we'll install our provided flange nuts. Now we can tighten these down using our 4mm Allen socket. We'll start with our threaded hole. And the other ones with the flange nuts, they should grab your bumper, like so. Now once you got your first side on, you can do the same thing for the other side. Next, we can install our factory fog light harness. Now you want to remember to keep your main plug on the passenger side as it was from factory. We're going to send this through under our winch plate, gonna help keep everything tucked. And plug these right back in. And we'll be able to plug this back into the vehicle. Now we can install our provided double bolt plates for each of our mounting spots for our bumper. What we're gonna do, send these under. You can get this first one kind of hooked in the bottom hole and use that, bring this around. Sometimes doesn't quite go. Once you get it through both sides, you want to grab your plastic retainer washers, spread these on. These are solely just to help hold this on. Once you get this first one in, you can do the same thing for the other 3. Next up, we're going to install our light bar. Now, the light bar that comes with your kit is a universal light bar, so it does come with bracketry and hardware. The only hardware you will need out of that kit is your main 5mm Allen head screw with a lock washer and flat washer, because our bumper already has mounting brackets on it, so we'll only need to use this screw to mount the light bar to our brackets. Get our light bar situated, grab our provided Allen head screw, get one side in, Then we'll get our other side in and come back and tighten these down. And we'll tighten these down with our 5mm Allen head socket on a ratchet. So before we install our bumper, we're gonna get our wiring and switch in place for our light bar. So what we're gonna do is come to the driver's side, we're gonna send our actual switch through the firewall into our cab to get that mounted. Then we're gonna send the rest of our harness over to our battery to get that hooked up. And then finally our connector down to our bumper area so we can hook up our light bar when we get our bumper on. Now to get our switch through our firewall, we're gonna come to the right side of our brake booster. You'll find a large opening. Now yours may have a grommet in it. However, for many previous installs, our grommet is no longer with us. So we're gonna send our switch right through there. It's a bit of a tight spot. Once we get that through, we can go into the cab and pull that through and get it mounted. So now we're in the driver's side footwell of our cab, and to get your switch, you're gonna run up beside your kick panel, grab your switch, you wanna pull that through, and this is mounted with an adhesive backing, so we'll remove that cover and stick this on. You pretty much have the freedom to mount this wherever you want for demonstration purposes. I'm gonna put this right here, just like so. So now that we have our switch in, we can come over to our battery. We've got our harness run over here. Before we hook up our connectors to our battery, what we're gonna do is remove the inline fuse that's gonna keep the circuit deactivated until we have everything hooked up and are ready to power it up. So we're gonna pull our cover off. And mind you, these are a little stiff at first. You wanna pull this fuse out. We'll just set this right here for now. And we're gonna hook our positive terminal up first, followed by our negative. For our positive terminal, we're going to remove this 12mm nut. Take our positive terminal, hook that up, get our nut reinstalled. We'll tighten that back down. For our negative connector, we're going to grab our 13mm socket. Move this nut, our terminal on, install our nut. So we're going to take the connector for our light. We're just going to run this down on the outside of our grill next to your headlight. Once you get this down, you can kind of pull your grill out a little. Run this down. We just need to be in the general area for our light for now. Tuck our excess wiring out of the way. Make sure our grill is secure. Then we'll tuck all our excess wiring up here out of the way. Now we're gonna set our bumper into place, so we're gonna line up those double bolt plates with our factory mounting spots on our frame horns. We're gonna get a couple of our flat washers, lock washers, and provided nuts in to help secure it. And we'll get underneath, install all the hardware, and tighten it down. So now we've got our bumper in place. We do have a couple of our nuts in just to hold it. What we're gonna do is grab our flat washers, lock washers, provide the nuts. You want to do that same thing for all of your mounting studs, and we'll come back and tighten these down. Now that we have all of our hardware in place, we're going to grab our 18mm socket on our ratchet and tighten these down. Once you got your first couple tight, you can do the same thing for the rest of your hardware. Now we can plug in our light bar connector, grab the end off our light bar and our harness. So it snaps into place. Now you can tuck this out of the way however you'd like. It's a nice easy spot behind the grill. Next we can plug in our fog light harness. Snap that back into place. Now we can reinstall our fuse. Install your waterproof cover. Next we can install our provided D-rings. We'll get these on, get our pin through. Snug that up. And you can do the same thing for the other side. Alrighty, that about wraps up our review and install of our Jeep licensed by RedRock HD front bumper with 20-inch light bar for your 18 to current Jeep Wrangler JL. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Wrangler, keep it right here at ExtremeTerrain.com.